this particular video, we're going to be talking about how to develop speed. It doesn't matter if you are a middle distance runner, you're a sprinter, or you're an endurance long distance runner like myself, a marathon runner. We can always develop our speed. The problem is it demands patience, because we all have different physiological makeups. There's some of us that are more focused and more suited to run the 200 and the 400 and the 800, more of a track and field type athlete with much higher percentage of probably fast twitch muscle fibers, as opposed to a middle distance to more so long distance runner who has probably more of a higher percentage of slow twitch muscle fibers. And so you have to be patient in regards to developing your speed. You know, how to develop speed takes months, and most of the time it takes years to develop. You know, it took me from 1992 all the way to 2007 to achieve one of my long-term goals in this sport, and that was to break 2 hours and 22 minutes for the marathon. Ended up running 2:19:35 and earning a 2008 USA Olympic Trials A standard, which back then was 2 hours 20 minutes flat for the distance, or 5 minutes and 20 seconds per mile over 26 miles. But speed was something that I always was focused on, because I knew I had a limited amount of overall leg turnover and leg power, leg speed. I had a 53.5 400 meter personal best in high school. Never ran the 400 meter. Ran two minutes flat for 800 meters in high school. But after high school, I never ran the 400 or the 800. But I was always doing those hard VO2 max workouts where I was training at close to 100% of my maximum heart rate. And I was always trying to focus on recruiting more fast twitch muscle fibers. And that's really what you want to do as you're working on your speed. And, you know, in terms of how to develop speed, you want to recruit more fast twitch muscle fibers to run more efficiently, more economically over your chosen distance. And it's not something that happens overnight by far. Even in high school, the first time I ran the mile, I ran as a freshman, I ran it in 5:30, lowered it down to 5:09 by the end of the year. And by my senior year, I ran 4:25 for the mile. So speed was always a focus, and how to develop speed was always a very important component of my preparation as a middle distance runner in high school, and all the way to when I ran professionally for the U.S. Army and for Brooks Shoes for about 6 years. I was always focused on speed. So how do you develop speed? One, you have to, like I said, you have to be extremely patient, because developing your speed takes years. It's not something that happens overnight, but there are a few tips that I can share in regards to how you can develop your speed and continue to work on your speed, regardless if you're in high school, or you're an advanced elite level athlete, or you're an older athlete such as myself, who, I'm 43 years old. I started when I was 15 years old, so I've been competing for about 28 years now. Doing strides is the first tip I want to share. They're very short sprints. They range anywhere from 50 meters to 100 meters in length. But what's great about strides is you can implement those into your weekly training without you really building up any legitimate lactic acid buildup. They're short sprints, anywhere from 50 to 100 meters in length, normally around 100 meters in length. And the focus in those strides is you want to gradually increase the pace of your effort. So where if you're doing a 100-meter stride, you want to, start off gradually and then end up sprinting, the last 20 meters of your stride. So what's great about strides, what a lot of athletes don't always think about, is if you're training over say a 4-month block of training for leading up to, say, a marathon or a half marathon, you're spending miles at sprint paces. So again, it's really critical that if you're trying to run a specific distance in a specific time, that you train much faster than you're trying to race at. This improves your lactate tolerance. It improves your body's ability to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up in your bloodstream when you're racing. And again, you want to be able to conserve carbohydrate, and you want to teach the body to burn fat at race pace. That way you conserve carbs and you have that glycogen at the end part of your race, rather than falling apart and running out of glycogen, especially when it comes to, the 5K to the marathon distance. If you're more of a sprinter, then you're going to have to develop and continue to work on training at your VO2 max and training and improving, and also training at your anaerobic threshold. Your anaerobic threshold is about, if you're wearing a heart rate monitor, it's about 164 to 174 beats per minute, depending on your age. And anaerobic threshold is right when your body starts to produce lactic acid, and that's right around at the same effort that we race at. So it's really important to extend the amount of time that you're training at your anaerobic threshold. So I'm a big believer in doing those tempo runs. If you're more of a middle distance runner or you're more of a sprinter, spend some time training at your anaerobic threshold and extending the time and the mileage that you're spending at that effort, because that's, again, going to teach your body to be able to clear lactic acid and handle lactic acid buildup. You want to improve your body's lactate tolerance. So doing sprints and doing strides teaches the body to recruit more fast twitch muscle fibers and will help you run more efficiently and more economically over your chosen distance. Another tip I want to share with you, and it's something that we did at the World Class Athlete Program when I was stationed at Fort Carson in Colorado Springs, is our strength and conditioning coach had us, even as marathoners, doing sprints, 50-meter sprints with a weighted sled attached to around us. So we were pulling the sled, pumping our arms, lifting our knees, focusing on posture. And that's something else you want to do when you're training, when you're working on how to develop speed. You want to really focus on that propulsion, that acceleration that you need, regardless of what distance you're training for. Even as marathoners, we need to be able to pick up and to be able to turn and burn on that last mile when everybody else is slowing down. You want to teach the body to accelerate at will, and to be able to train far faster than you're trying to race over your particular distance. Even if you're a 400-meter athlete, you can still train faster than 400-meter pace. It may not be for very long, it's not going to be for minutes, but it's going to be for seconds. But you can train way faster than you're trying to race at over 400 meters. Spend some time doing repeat 50-meter sprints all out, and then having full recovery. Again, you're working on acceleration drills. So that's another way you can work on, developing your speed and working that piece. The number 3 tip is doing those real hard VO2 max workouts that I've talked about in other videos. If you haven't yet watched those, go back and watch those on the RunDreamAchieve YouTube channel. And then also go to RunDreamAchieve.com. I have a lot of resources there for athletes that are training for the 5K to marathon distance. Whether you're a beginner or an elite level athlete, I have specific courses that I've created as well that are specifically built for athletes trying to break specific times over specific distances. Those VO2 max workouts, or those workouts where you're doing like all out 100 meters sprints, like say 10 to 12 100 meter all out sprints, and you have full recovery between each set, or you're doing like 16 by 200 meters on the track with very minimal rest. This is where you're training at between 95 and 100% of your maximum heart rate. It's the maximum oxygen uptake your body can produce at your most intense type of running. So doing those VO2 max workouts will, again, teach your body to improve its lactate tolerance. You want to be able to handle lactic acid buildup more efficiently than your competition. And developing your speed and working that piece is really going to help you do that. Number 4, hill sprints, hill repetitions. Even as a marathoner, half marathon specialist, I was always focused on doing hill repetitions. I had limited speed, 53 quarter speed, so I was always trying to find hills between 100 meters and 150 meters in length, and I would sprint up all out and then walk back down for recovery. And again, this is training at 100% maximum heart rate. You're doing all-out sprints with full recovery. So, and then you can also do hill sprints where you're not going quite all out. Maybe you're going around 90 to 92% effort, and you jog back down. So again, it's all about recruiting fast twitch muscle fibers, training closer to your VO2 max, and you want to make sure that you're only doing about 1 VO2 max workout per week, because you cannot continue to push the body at those types of intensities and expect a return on your investment in terms of training at that type of intensity. I want to welcome you to the channel. If you're brand new, click subscribe, click on the bell icon so when I make a new video, you'll be notified of it. My name is Nate Pennington. I'm the founder of RunDreamAchieve.com. I've been competing for 28 years, and my goal with this channel and with RunDreamAchieve.com is to help athletes, whether they're sprinters or all the way to the marathon distance, to get better results by training smarter rather than harder. I want you working with leverage, which leverage simply means doing more with less. So these types of training, in terms of how to develop your speed and how to develop speed, will definitely help you to run more efficiently because you're training at paces much, much faster than your goal race pace for your chosen distance. If you're a 5K to a marathon specialist, then it's even more critical to work on your speed because you're not built for sprinting. You're not a sprinter. You're not a 100 meter, 400 meter, 800 meter athlete. You're more of a 3K to marathon distance specialist. So how to develop your speed is even more important for you because you don't have as much overall leg speed as, say, somebody that's built more for the 100 meter to 800 meter distance. So last tip is to do those anaerobic threshold type workouts, and also coupled with the VO2 max workouts. You want to do one VO2 max workout a week, one anaerobic threshold workout like a tempo run, or doing like 16 times 400 meters on the track at around your 5K to 10K race pace. So it's not quite VO2, but it's a mixture. It's close to between your anaerobic threshold and your VO2 max. It's more like around 88 to 92% of your maximum heart rate. So those are just a few tips I wanted to share with you on how to develop speed. It's very critical that we're in a business where if you have a specific time you want to run in a specific event, then you have to really hone in on what that goal pace is. If it's 400 meters, you want to run under, say, 70 seconds for 400 meters. You want to be able to do repeat 200s in like 27 seconds to 32 seconds per repetition. And again, you're training closer to your maximum heart rate. So you're only going to be spending a few seconds at that particular effort. But if you do repetitions and you teach your body over time to be able to handle those repetitions and lower your recovery between your reps, I'm telling you, you're going to be so fit. Also, in terms of developing speed, you also want to pay attention to all the other factors that go into running a great race. Recovery, practice and hydration. Make sure, even if you're doing repeat miles or repeat 200s on the track, that there's a water bottle out there, or you have some form of hydration sitting out on the track. You do not want to neglect that piece, because hydration, proper recovery, making sure that you're running relaxed and jogging on your recovery days is very important as well. You want to be able to get a return on your investment. If you have not yet, make sure you Google super compensation. All of the benefits of your hard work and anaerobic work and training at your VO2 max comes down to what you're doing in your recovery phase. As long as you're giving yourself sufficient time to recover, you're going to get really big personal best, and you're going to perform at very high levels. So again, training, be patient with your training. Make sure that you realize that if you're a beginner in the sport, most of your best performances are probably a decade to 2 decades down the road. If you're more an advanced athlete, then you can still set a personal best. You can still always work on how to develop your speed and to work on that speed. So be very patient. Work on your strides like we discussed. Do sled drill, and with weights on those sleds, fantastic. Again, you're working on your acceleration, and doing those short types of drills will help your body recruit those fast twitch muscle fibers we discussed. Repeat 100 to 300 to 400 meter sprints on the track. Again, you're training at your VO2 max, very important, just like doing the hill repetitions. Focusing on your form, get in the gym and work on doing those sit-ups and push-ups and strengthening your running muscles to make sure that you're running as efficiently as possible and your posture as perfect as it possibly can be in terms of running either in the sprints events or up to the marathon distance. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you have a question or something I didn't cover in this video, leave me a comment below. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys coming to the channel and I will talk to you guys in the next video.